Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Cece and we are back at it again today with another video. And in today's video we are going to be reacting to the story of Seth, and I think this is where music and adultery begins. Now, I personally have been somebody who has struggled with music. I will explain more at the end of the video. And I think that music is one of the things that a lot of members in the Muslim community struggle with. I remember seeing a video yesterday, and it was saying, what are the struggles, what are some of the rules that you struggled to come to terms with? And this was directed to the Muslim people, and I was reading the comments and 90% of it was music. They were saying that they struggled with knowing that music is haram. You know, a lot of them are on this journey of trying to stop music, listening to music, or even doing music, you know. So it's one of the things that they struggle with, and I think a lot of people do not know the origins, and neither do I. But all I know is that it's not good. All I know is that it stems from evil. But I will explain my journey when it comes to music at the end of the video. It's quite interesting, so stay tuned for that. And before we do get into today's reaction video, please do not forget to like, comment, share, and please do not forget to subscribe. And when you are subscribing, please do not forget to hit that notification button so you get notified each time I do post. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's video, shall we?
Adam alayhi salam had a son named Sheeth or Seth.
And Sheeth was a gift, and even the name Sheeth means gift. Sheeth was a gift that was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Adam after the death of his son Habil. Habil was a righteous son, a righteous servant of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Adam, as a righteous man, he was attached to Habil, and when he lost Habil, he was very upset. So Allah Azza wa Jal replaced Habil with Sheeth, not only a righteous man, but a prophet and a messenger of Allah. And Adam named him Sheeth as a gift, yani the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
This son of Adam was very close to him. He obeyed his instructions. He learned from his father. He actually used to remind his brethren, his brothers and the nephews and so on, and the grand-nephews. Whilst Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was alive as well, he continued to remind people of the beginning, because there was nothing else to remind them about at that particular time, besides to worship Allah alone and how shaitan had made a promise and so on.
And Sheeth, after the death of his father Adam, he ruled the children of Adam, and he ruled with justice. He ruled in accordance to Allah's law, and he brought unity between the people around him. But shaitan could not stop his plotting. On the other hand, Qabil and the descendants of Qabil grew and grew more than the people around Sheeth.
One of the sons, known as Qabil or Cain, he had aggressiveness in his behavior. He had greed, he had arrogance. He was a tough character, difficult to get along with. So what he did, he decided to depart, to leave the rest, and to go away on his own, somewhere very far away. So Adam alayhi salam, prior to his death, he used to live with Sheeth alayhi salam and with all these other children of his in the mountainous regions, in the mountains. And now this young man decided, or Qabil decided, to go to the valleys and to go to the flat land somewhere further away. Later on, Sheeth alayhi salatu wasalam was given an instruction by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Part of his sharia was that it was prohibited to mix with the people who were gone onto the other side. Now there was a distinct sign. You could see very clearly the men from Qabil's side were not very good looking. We heard about that. And the women were very good looking. When it comes to where Sheeth alayhi salam and the rest of them were, the men were very good looking and the women were not that good looking. According to narrations, I'm not speaking obviously from my own pocket here.
It says that Iblis, la'natullah alayhi la'natullah, he made himself to a form of a young boy, like an apprentice, and he went to a blacksmith who used to work with metal, and he asked if he could be an apprentice for that blacksmith. And what he did was, he worked for him and he designed a flute. And with that flute he came out and he introduced it to everyone.
He slowly started making sound that people had never heard before, because there were no sounds that people had heard. That was the beginning of time. And now he created a little drum and he beat it, and everybody would come, what's that sound? And they would come around him and watch. Then he got a bit of metal and he started hitting it, and then it created a sound and they came. And then he made a bugle and he started blowing into it, and it created a sound and they came and they were excited. Wow, these people are intelligent. They have advanced much more than us. And they got so engrossed in it that they slowly started forgetting the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the other hand, Sheeth alayhi salam kept on reminding his people, and he kept on telling his people what was right and what was wrong and so on. And on this hand, we find that shaitan is teaching them how to do evil, how to create evil.
And so the flute was made and it sounded nice. It says that when he brought the flute to them, they started to move their bodies to the flute. When you hear musical instruments, the more you hear, the more every part of your body reacts to it. So they began to dance.
This is how they introduced the musical instruments into existence. And through that, he would control them. They literally set aside a day, an evening, a Saturday evening, and amazingly, to this day, it lasts. To this day, it lasts. They set aside that evening where he would create these sounds, everybody would come around and everybody would listen to him. And everybody would literally party, they would party. Until there came a time when some of the youth from Sheeth alayhi salatu wasalam were visited by shaitan. And what did he do to them? Something interesting. He went to them and he created a doubt in their minds. He made them ask a question. He made them question the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is it that we are not allowed to mix with these cousins of ours, with these relatives of ours? What is the law all about? What is the reasoning? What is so bad about them?
It says that the people of the mountain began to hear this flute. Some men were passing by close and they heard the flute. They liked the sound and they went in a direction, because he said they didn't know where they were. They heard the flute one day and it attracted them and they went towards that direction. And these men, they saw the women of the land.
Some of them decided, let's just have a peep at what's happening. So they came down from the mountains and they went. And from a distance they were watching and they had seen, and it pulled them. Imagine, they did not intend to engage in evil, but when they saw everybody is partying, and what did they see? They saw very good looking females. And so they went closer. And when they went closer, they were seen. Subhanallah. They were seen. And they were good looking men. So the women began to engage in what is known as tabarruj. Tabarruj meaning to start displaying their beauty and to start dressing up in order to attract. This was the first time shaitan taught them this.
And the men and the women began to intermingle, and through the music and the getting together in such a fashion, it resulted in the natural and biological interactions, reactions inside the man and the woman, and the shaitan played his role. And so free mixing began to occur without boundaries. Our scholars say that this is when zina began. This is when adultery and fornication began. Slowly but surely, with the introduction of this first flute and music, which called for a celebration between men and women gathering and dancing, and over time zina was carried out.
These young men, they came in and they enjoyed themselves. They had music, they had women, they had so much. They were partying, they were enjoying, and they went away. So as the men came back, they told the other youngsters, hey, you don't know what you're missing out on. You see there, they've got different sounds, and these sounds are amazing. These people came back with a bigger group, and they came back with a larger group, and the group was growing. And every time that party happened, there were people from this side who used to quietly go to that side, and they used to engage in sin.
Now, the first sin on a collective level, like lots of people do it, was zina. Zina, adultery and fornication. The other sins were done on an individual level, and look what happened. So imagine now when a sin is done on a collective level. Keep in mind, people did not commit shirk as yet. Shirk is when people do certain acts of worship, making partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in those different acts of worship. But bit by bit, the shaitan, the iblis, was taking the human beings to the second level, to the third level, to the fourth level. Bit by bit. And for this reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. Do not follow the footsteps of the shaitan. The footsteps of the shaitan. The shaitan is very smart. He understands the human mind. So Iblis thought, I can't do shirk at the moment. It's too early. They're too fresh at the moment. They know my tricks. So I'm going to bring about to them things that would move them. So he brought the music and he brought the zina afterwards. Iblis took them to that step. At this point, sheeth was commanding and prohibiting, advising. Sheeth lived on for a few more decades. And some of the narrations and scholars agree that from his progeny, from his children came most of the prophets. Most of the prophets ended up with him. And some say all of the prophets ended up in his lineage. No one came after that from Qabil. No prophets, no messengers, but from Sheeth, who was from the son of Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. Next, after Sheeth, he was entrusted in charge, and then at his deathbed after him, he entrusted it to his most noble son. Sheeth alayhi salam entrusted it to his most noble son of many children. His name was Enos. His name was Enos, who carried out his mission after him. Then after him his son Canaan, and then his son Muhallalal took the charge of the mission. Muhallalal is the one whom Persians, they claim to be the king of the 7 regions. It says that he was the first to cut trees, build cities and big castles. It says that he built the city of Babylon in Iraq today, Babylonia, and the farthest city of Sus or Sus. He defeated Iblis, they say, and his army, and then scattered them into mountains and valleys and killed a huge number of them, as though there was a war between him and the jinns. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best about this. And his rule lasted for about 40 years after his last father. After him came a son named as Jared, who took charge of his mission. And here the Quran, the next man or the son that came after him, the Quran mentions him. His name is Idris alayhi salam.
Okay guys, so that brings me to the end of that video. And wow, the first collective sin was zina, and that's all stemmed from music, and music stemmed from a flute. Wow, I never knew a flute was the origin of music. Wow, that's crazy. So if music stems from the devil, then it's only right for us to not listen to it, because at the end of the day, it can lead us to making or doing greater sins. For me, right now I don't listen to music much. No. Like sometimes even hearing it, like, I'm just like, please just turn it off. Like, I don't want to hear it, but that's not every time. There are days whereby I will play music from morning to night just because I just want to feel good. That's what it does. Like, it just makes you want to feel good and party and all that stuff. There are days whereby I just want to listen to music, and there are days whereby I don't want to listen to music. I get those more so than wanting to listen to music. For me, when it comes to the journey of music, I stopped listening to worldly music when I was a Christian. I tried my best to not listen to worldly music. I was mainly focused on gospel music. Like, I love gospel. To this day, like, I love gospel music, honestly. Like, I love it. But if you think about the origins of music, perhaps I shouldn't love it as much as I do. For me, music helped me a lot when I was a Christian, especially when it came to praying, because I didn't want to do like 5 minutes prayer, 2 minutes prayer, 10 minutes prayer. No, I wanted to spend hours praying to God, and that came with music. I felt like I needed the music in order for me to do that, and I've realized now that I don't. I spoke about this briefly in my previous video, where I explained that in the past I used to listen to music because it helped me to pray. Gospel music particularly, it helped me to pray. It got me in that mood, but it shouldn't. I should be able to pray to God without needing that push, without needing music, and if music stems from the devil, then I am essentially using the devil to worship God, and it's not right. There was a stage where I learned that, when you wake up, I said, before the sun rises, like, there's a lot that goes on in the spiritual realm. And so I used to get up in the morning very early, let's say 2, 3, and pray. And I used to put my gospel music there and literally spend hours praying. That is what I was doing. I needed music in order for me to pray. And if music stems from the devil, I am essentially using the devil to pray to God. And one last thing I would like to say before I close off this video is that when it comes to gospel music, the reason why I stopped is because you never really and truly know where that music is coming from. The people singing that song, they may portray themselves to be religious and all that, but behind closed doors, they are completely different. They just do the music because there's money in it. So at the end of the day, you listening to that gospel music, you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know the intention of that artist. And that's with every single music out there. Just think about it. Just because it's branded as a gospel music doesn't mean that it is good. It doesn't mean that where it's coming from is good. Think about it. For my Christians out there, think about it. Just because it's labeled as gospel music does not mean it is good. Also, be very mindful of the type of people you listen to. Be very mindful of the type of pastors you listen to, because there is this particular pastor, like, very known. He honestly, like, he helped me on my journey with God when I was a Christian. Like, he was the reason why I was getting up in the middle of the night to pray and all that. Like, he really pushed me, Along with this, my friend introduced me to him. So we listen, I've had a journey when it's come to God, and a lot of people unfortunately don't know that. They just assume things. But anyways, there's this particular pastor, and I believe it was sometime last month or over a month ago or something like that, I seen a video of him accepting something called a messianic sword. It corrects me if I'm wrong, but it's a sword. That's all I know. It's a sword. And this sword stems from something, let's say evil, basically. Like, it's not good. Something that's not good. And it's like, this is a pastor, like a huge pastor. He's from Nigeria. He's a big pastor. His name is Joshua Selman. I used to listen to him. I used to literally play his sermons all the time. Like, it got me in a deeper relationship with God. But him accepting the sword that supposedly stems from the devil or has links to the Illuminati, I don't know. All I'm saying is, guys, let's be vigilant. Let's be mindful of the type of people we listen to. Let's be mindful of the type of people we watch. Let's just be careful. If you want to know more about this messianic sword that I am talking about, just type in YouTube Joshua Selman accepting messianic sword, and you will find multiple videos explaining what this sword is. And then make your comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me in today's video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope everyone learned something. Even if it's one thing that you learned, I hope you learned and you take from it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and please do not forget to subscribe, and take good care of yourselves. Bye guys.